state employees who were given a promotion and raise are now being told years later that it was a mistake and that they must pay it back to the state. Good evening, I'm Michael Spencer.
And I'm Michaelia White, and for Karen Lee, the Colorado Department of Corrections demanding thousands of dollars back from those employees. Your investigator, Karen Morfitt, sat down with employees trying to fight that demand.
And Karen, they say this is a life-changing amount of their paychecks.
Right, and Michael and Michaelia, this is not like they were getting overpaid and just didn't know about it. They say they were getting the raise they were told they would get if they got these promotions. We obtained internal DOC emails that confirm it was the department's mistake, yet these employees are now on the hook for repayment. The financial impact is significant, which is why those who agreed to speak with us did so anonymously.
The decision to take a job as a parole officer isn't one that's made lightly. Just last fall, an officer was killed when contacting a suspect.
This isn't a safe job.
It's not. It's not safe at all. We go out here every day, put our lives on the lines, dealing with parolees, convicted felons.
For these two Department of Corrections employees, it was a risk worth taking.
I missed a lot of family get-togethers and birthdays for the last 10 years prior to going to parole. So that was a very big determining factor.
Everything I do is to take care of my family.
It was also a promotion that both were told would come with a significant pay increase.
And I was told that I would be getting that 10% increase, and that was my deciding factor on getting a parole position.
So you distinctly remember this?
Distinctly, yes, ma'am.
It was discussed that this was a promotion. Within DOC, the standard and common practice when given a promotion is a 10% raise, and that was my understanding.
Now, years after they've settled into their new roles, they received this letter from the Department of Corrections Director of Human Resources saying from day one they were being overpaid and that effective immediately it would be corrected, losing $300 to $500 every month from their pay.
We structure our lives around our paycheck and pay that we've been receiving for a year and a half.
Both launched internal grievances, putting the changes on hold until January, when the department sent a second notice with a decision, arriving just before their checks were issued.
No time to plan, talk to creditors to get things in order, lined up to pay bills. No friends, co-workers helped me out to take care of bills and things of that nature, food pantries.
That notice also included new information that the workers would have to pay back the overpayments. That's nearly $8,000 each.
You take a job, you get assured you're going to get paid a certain thing just to find out later on that you're not, and then you actually owe the state more money.
But internal Department of Correction emails confirm its staff made the clerical mistake, saying, quote, "Unfortunately, the error was made by the ESU technician in both cases." The response from the Director of Human Resources, "I'm wondering if we can show they should have known they were making more." The answer, "We do not complete promotion letters in HR or anything to the employees stating their new salary." What the DOC does have is this referral letter that neither employee says they saw until their grievance hearings. It includes a new hire salary of $5,023 a month. At that rate, the promotional pay increase would have been just short of $50 a month, an amount both say would not have been worth the risk.
It's a huge surprise when you make that transition from a facility sergeant to a parole officer. You're essentially taking on 10 times the workload, 10 times the responsibility, a lot more danger in your position.
When asked about why the employees would be liable for the department's mistake, a spokesperson said, quote, "The state of Colorado fiscal rules have clear protocols regarding overpayments to state employees. But for those families now struggling with how to make ends meet, it's a sign of a bigger problem within the department and their struggle to hire and retain employees."
This sets a bad precedence to treat your employees that have given you a lot of time.
Now, a spokesperson for the Department of Corrections says they are currently conducting an internal audit to identify and advise any other staff members affected by these wage overpayments. They say they have identified 5 cases so far and are going to carefully review those.
Karen, this is obviously a lot of money for these individuals. Is it enough to make or break the DOC's budget?
You know, that was a big question for us. What, in context, how much money is this, right? So we went back to the Joint Budget Committee's last meeting where they presented their budget proposal. disposal. It's over $1 billion that they operate on. And so we did a little bit of math. For these 2 employees, it's less than 0.001% of that overall budget.
Were these 2 employees and the others you spoke with hired at different times and for different jobs, Karen?
Yeah, so the two that we spoke to in that piece hired months apart. We've also identified others who were hired years after these 2, or years before these 2, and for a totally different role. So there's a lot more to dig into here about where this mistake was made. And really, you know, the question for these guys is, was it really an overpayment when this is what they claim they were told they should have been getting?
Yeah, there's a lot to keep digging on here, and we know you'll continue to do that for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, the Weld County Sheriff's Office